Hello, fellow cyborgs, and welcome to another Pyjama Sunday. If you celebrate Easter, I hope you are having a lovely Easter celebration. If not, I hope you're just having a lovely springish Sunday. Today, I wanted to talk to you about a couple books that I just finished reading and a few books that I am currently reading. So already at this halfway point in April, I finished reading God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater, which I'm so glad that I finished reading it. This I gave 3 out of 5 stars, and I also buddy read it with Marissa from Blatantly Bookish. We're still chatting about that over Goodreads. So I'm definitely proud of myself and a bit relieved that I finally got to God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater, and that I actually enjoyed it. So review to come on this guy. I also finished reading Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson. I was buddy reading this with M.A. Anders, and we're having a lovely time chatting about it. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars as well, but for a completely different reason than God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater. There will be a review video of this coming up in the future, so eyes peeled for that. I look forward to discussing it more with you. All right, and now let's move on to currently reading. Let's start with currently listening to. At the moment, I am listening to Visions of the Future. Sorry about the rainbow that's happening with my phone. I think it's like the screen cover I have on it. Visions of the Future by Timothy Zahn. This is narrated by Mark Thompson, if I remember correctly, who does a fantastic job at narration. It's amazing. There are dozens of characters in Visions of the Future, which is a Star Wars novel, or it's a novel set in the Star Wars universe. It's part of their Legends series. He manages to capture many of the voices of the male heroes we know from the movies pretty darn well. I'm not a super fan of his Han Solo, but his Calrissian and Luke are really great. The female voices, like Princess Leia, not so much, but I mean, he does so many awesome male voices. I can't fault him for not having a really accurate female voice. I mean, he is a dude, there's a different voice range and everything like that. He also does C3PO great, and this audio production is a true narration of the actual novel, but they also put in sound effects, which is really cool. So if people are chatting in the cockpit of a ship, then there might be like beeping sound effects, or if a hologram transmission comes in, then the person's voice is a little bit fuzzy because of that, transmission sort of thing that happens. What? Anyway, I think you get my point. It's almost dramatized in its feeling, but it is a true reading of the audiobook. So I am really, really happy to be listening to that. I picked it up on a whim after finally seeing Rogue One at the Dollar Theater, which was so good, and I just needed more Star Wars in my life. So that is what I'm currently listening to at the moment. I am currently 2/3 of the way through The Thousand Autumns of Jakob de Zoet by David Mitchell. I was going to say something else. That's not right. I'm buddy reading this with Karen from the Book Rookie. I'm about 2/3 of the way through. I think I said that to begin with, but that's fine. This is not my favorite. It's really, really well written, really detailed. The narrative is interesting, and I like it when I'm reading it, but I'm not terribly compelled to pick it up in between times. It's definitely not on par with Cloud Atlas in my mind. This is a historical novel that takes place in like 1799 to 1800 in Japan, and it has to do with the fact that Japan very limited its interactions and trade with the outside world, i.e. the European world, specifically the Dutch in this case. I think I was expecting this to be a lot less dark and gritty than it actually is. So far, the story has really focused on the corruption within the Dutch port city, or the city of Dejima, where the Dutch people live. They're not allowed to live on the proper mainland in Japan while they're there doing trade stuff and things. And it's just a really corrupt, not nice world. And I think that whenever I read historical fiction, I assume it's going to be escapist and kind of glorify the historical time period, because let's face it, it's really fun to pretend that our lives would be easier back in the day when dresses were pretty and women didn't have the right to vote. What? So anyway, it's definitely a lot darker of a read than I was expecting, which has thrown me off. Not that Cloud Atlas was a light read. I don't know what I was expecting, to be completely honest with you. The writing style is excellent. The historical context is excellent. I'm really connecting with a lot of the characters, and there are characters in here I'm not connecting with them. I'm understanding them. They're feeling like full people, but it's just a little bit. So I will be finishing this up sooner rather than later, and hopefully I will be giving it a 4-star rating. Fingers crossed. That's what I'm thinking it is right now. And no one is surprised to see that War and Peace is still on my currently reading pile. I only just passed 50%. Which is awesome. So I'm on page 682 and I'm in volume 3, part 2, and it's still really interesting. I'm still enjoying it. The characters are still feeling very much like people. Let's talk about Natasha for a minute, because I know I ragged on her a little bit in the last video and talking about how I just didn't understand her and how she's just this kind of like flippant, selfish, passionate character. So she's definitely at this point had a character arc, and this is a tiny mild spoiler. Well, no, it's not tiny. Okay, if you are interested in reading War and Peace and you want to know nothing about some of the characters, then stop listening for another like 10 seconds or so. But anyway, the thing I just wanted to say was I'm really hoping that Natasha's character arc isn't, let's teach that wild and lively woman how to be meek and mild, because that's a woman's place in the world. I'm really hoping that's not her character arc, because I find it disinteresting. We already have a meek and mild character in Maria Bolkonsky, and I just don't like the implications of that. So we'll just have to see about that. Otherwise, it's still, a difficult read. It's a slow read, but it's really interesting. The passages that take place with the war and the army are harder for me to get through, but I have found so much enjoyment in those sections with beautiful quotes or just really funny ideas and insights into the human mind that Tolstoy has. So it's just, really enjoyable all around. At this point, it would be a 4 out of 5 star read. Let's see what it ends up being when I get to the end. Hopefully it doesn't drop down a star. Might even gain one. Who knows? We'll have to see. I have no idea if I'm going to finish this by the end of April. I don't know. So we'll just have to find out. But I'm still enjoying it, still plugging away, and yeah, that is my War and Peace update. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about was just a really quick note that I noticed on Goodreads. I have a physical TBR shelf on Goodreads, which helps me keep track of the number and what books are over there on my bookcase, just so that I don't have to stare at all of the spines that judge me. I can just go scroll through Goodreads. Anyway, the point is that I currently have 107 books on my physical TBR, which I'm really excited about because it has been over 110 for months now. Since the end of 2016, it has just been, I read a couple books and I gain a couple books. I read a couple books and I gain a couple books, and just staying over that 110 mark. So I'm really excited to see it down at 107. I will know by now, but you don't know yet, what the Easter Bunny has in store for me. I might have some books to add to that, but hopefully not too many. And hopefully my reading just continues to be awesome. Well, my reading isn't awesome, but hopefully I still continue to prioritize reading as much as I can with my job and the stress surrounding my job. So yes, I very much look forward to seeing that number drop to below 100. That'll be exciting. Hopefully that happens sooner rather than later. Once I finish reading War and Peace, I feel like my reading will just significantly increase. So I really should get on that, but it just takes so much time. It's so much time and effort to read War and Peace, but hey, it's enjoyable and I want to get it done. So that is this Pyjama Sunday. I told you a little bit about what I just finished reading, a little bit what I'm currently reading, and how my 0 by 18 challenge is going so far, at least as far as quantity of books I still have left to read. Let me know in the comments down below if the Easter Bunny brought you anything on this Sunday. If you don't believe in Easter, or the Easter Bunny doesn't visit you anymore because he's a jerk face, then please let me know what you are currently reading and if you are enjoying it or not. I always love to chat with you in the comment section, so please chat away and I will respond as soon as I can. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my patrons as always, and until next time, continue to be lovely.